Welcome to the Real Estate Marketing Podcast. My name is Jerome Lewis. I'm your host for today. The Real Estate Marketing Podcast is a podcast where we talk real estate, marketing, tech, business, and leadership. We talk these things for real estate agents, real estate investors, and real estate entrepreneurs. The Real Estate Marketing Podcast is a podcast that has two purposes. Purpose number one, to educate and inform our audience and listeners. Purpose number two, Ben, to spotlight you, your business, your product, or your service in a way that provides value to you, including market exposure and content creation. With that, we have a very special guest, y'all. I'm very excited. We have Ben Glass. Ben Glass is a prominent American attorney, business leader, and legal marketing expert with over 40 years of experience representing disabled and injured clients against insurance companies. He is widely recognized for his innovative approach to law and business, making significant contributions to both fields. Ben, I'm excited that you're here. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Jerome, thanks for having me on the program. You and I were talking a little bit before we went live. We're both of the Dan Kennedy world and other entrepreneur world. And so you're younger and newer. I can just tell by looking at some of your stuff before I came on that you are full of energy. And so that's great, a great place to lead. And, you know, a big point that we often make is, even though I'm a lawyer and your listeners are mainly going to be in a real estate field, like nobody's business is different. We're all dealing with human beings. We all have the same amount of hours in a day and in a week and in a year. And some of us, like you, Mr. Implementer, some of us are making much of every single moment that we have. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the book. And just, whatever else you want to talk about in terms of building a business, because this is all about building a life, Jerome, and building a business that supports the life you want to live.
Absolutely, 100%. So one of the things I like for my guests to do is I love for them to tell their story about how they got into their industry, their field, and their expertise. So Ben, we read your professional bio. I would just love to hear your story, how you got to where you got to today.
Yeah, so 40 years is a long time, but we'll cram it in. So pretty typical path. For most lawyers, right? Undergrad, I grew up playing soccer, so I went to college in the 70s on a soccer scholarship, and then went directly into law school to George Mason University School of Law. Now, what's important there is that was its first year. So, like the place you go of higher education, it really doesn't matter. It's what you do after that. Practiced with a firm for 12 or 13 years. Got the entrepreneurial itch. That, I'm a good lawyer. I was getting good results. How hard could it be to start a business, right? And so I took some cases with me and started my own practice. And, as every entrepreneur knows, like being good at the thing, right? Being good at selling real estate, being good at being a lawyer does not necessarily mean you know anything about actually running a business. And turned out I didn't. And so it went okay for a while because I had cases, but then I started to struggle, Jerome, because I didn't really know how to attract clients. This is back in the days of the Yellow Pages, a little bit pre-internet, actually. And by luck, or really because I was on mailing lists of places like Success Magazine, Entrepreneur Press, Nightingale Conant, I got a sales letter from a guy named Dan Kennedy for a product called Magnetic Marketing. It was $300. I had never spent $300 on anything in my life, like any book. I ordered it, and I almost turned it back in, but because I didn't understand it. Like it wasn't about lawyers, it wasn't about legal industry. But it was about how do we do marketing that creates a line of people who want your product or service. And so I read it. I listened to the audio tapes because that's what it was, not CDs, not DVDs, not live stream, audio tapes. And I said to myself, I don't understand half of what Dan's talking about, but I realized, Jerome, if I could figure this out, it would change my life. And it did. And so I join Kennedy's organization. A principle that I live by is invest in yourself, like get coaching, join mastermind groups. And for the last 25 years, Dan and I have, I've been one of his proteges. I'm one of the lawyers that he writes about. I've had chapters in several of his books. And about a year ago this week, he faxed me, because that's the way Dan communicates, only by fax. He has no email. He says, would you like to co-author the fourth edition of No BS Time Management? I said, yeah, sure. I'm really busy. I have a conference coming up, our major event. I'm busy in my cases. Like, as long as I have enough time. He goes, well, you got 30 days. 30 days, not a lot of time. So I got to work. I set the time aside. I studied the prior work. And what I wanted to do with my parts of the book, Jerome, was to bring maybe a point of view that Dan had not brought in his earlier books. Again, big family. I've got 9 children, 7 grandkids. I run 2 businesses. So I'm an attorney and run a very successful personal injury and disability law practice here in Northern Virginia, Fairfax, Virginia. And I also run a coaching business, like teaching lawyers how to build great businesses. So mainly small firm lawyers, like how to build a business that supports your life. And so Dan got me involved because I was busy. We got the chapters done, and the book was just recently released, and we broke Amazon on the first day.
Nice.
It ran out, but I think it's good now. And so that's where I am today at 40, almost 41 years into the practice of law, 20 plus years running an organization called Great Legal Marketing, which coaches lawyers. It's a membership and event organization. And I crossed 50 years. I'm a soccer referee for high school and youth soccer. So I've been doing that since I was 16. That actually is outside of my family, Jerome. Like my number one love it's weird. It's really weird. Like you want to get on a field with rivals and have people get mad at you, but I'm really good at it and I enjoy the fitness aspect of it. And I do CrossFit.
Thank you for sharing that. I have quite a few things I would love for you to talk about, but one thing that's coming to mind right away for me, because it's so fresh, and it's along the lines of people say, oh, my business is different, my life is different, you don't understand. Like that's the common one that I hear, you don't understand. So I would love to hear your perspective and your insight, because you just told us that you have 9 children.
9 children, yeah. So 5 biological, 4 adopted from China. So we've been on quite the journey.
That's amazing. So I have I'm going to call her a colleague for now. And she throws that thing out and she's like, Jerome, you don't understand. I have 5 kids. I got to take care of these kids and run my business. And I just want to hear your perspective on that, because I actually do understand. But I also understand that despite what life throws at us, we have to get through it. And I want to hear your insights on that, because that's what this is all about. It's about time management. We're going to talk about some of the topics in the book, but I just want to hear you talk about that. 9 children, and you're still managing to get all this stuff done.
So there's 2 things. So real quick, but we can come back to it. The my business is not different, or the my business is different is an excuse. Really gets down to this. At the end of the day, no matter what your business is, you are not living alone on an island. You are dealing with other human beings. So when I'm talking to a jury or judge, I'm dealing with other human beings. I'm trying to persuade them to my viewpoint of a case. If I am, selling a product or service, selling services to consumers or selling services to lawyers, I'm dealing with other human beings. Every business is like that. And so the point is, personal development is really important. Jerome, running with people in mastermind groups and coaching groups who do things bigger, better, and faster than you do, right, is so important. And so to that colleague who has 5 children, God bless her, and she's run her business, yes, this is hard. This is hard. Like life was not meant to be lived and done like totally everything on your shoulders. And what I would want that person to know is that there are communities of people, I think it was a female, just like her, who same situation, but they're a little farther along the path. They figured some things out. And her job is not to try to figure out everything on her own. Her job is to leverage some of the experience and successes of other people. And then as she learns, she turns around, she helps the next person. So that's my thing on like no business is actually different, because business is life and life is business. And now that loops into the second point. Like, so how do you do this with 9 kids and, soccer and CrossFit and all that stuff? The formula is this. And most of us are so busy, Jerome, we think we're so busy. We never take the time to do this exercise. And it doesn't matter whether you're just starting out or you're like me across 41 years in practice. Is from time to time, you sit down with I'm going to hold up a blank legal pad, and you just start to think, if I could wave a magic wand, like what would a perfect life for me be? And when we do that exercise, Jerome, there's a little bird sits on your shoulder that says, you're not smart enough. You don't have enough money. You don't have enough friends. You don't have enough contacts. Ignore that bird, like smack him away. And just let your mind go to defining and describing what would be perfect. No judgment. No one's ever going to see this except you. But we want to create it, because the more that we can create in our own minds, and I believe in writing, that we can craft what would be perfect for us, the more we will see those opportunities in the universe. And actually, it sounds woo-woo, right? If you've never worked with a true mindset coach or a business coach or even like a therapist, it sounds weird if you haven't done this. So it may weird some people out. But when you're really clear and you're telling the universe like what I need or what would be perfect, the universe starts sending you opportunities and you see them. Now, next part of the exercise, Jerome, is, okay, what is it about my life today? Like, what's the difference between where I am right now and what I just clearly articulated perfect would be? Because we got to know that. And then we start to chip away at that delta. And trust me, it's not to say that this process is easy. It's not easy. Life throws stuff at you. But most people, Jerome, never engage in the process. Their friends will tell them, you don't deserve that. Who made you special? Why should you have a perfect life? And here's my answer. Here's my answer to that. That's sort of like Jerome, I'm going to guilt you for thinking about like living a life that's perfect for Jerome. Well, Jerome, you are the workhorse. You're the racehorse, right? You're running an organization. If you're not financially, spiritually, emotionally, physically well, people who work for you, they don't have jobs. The people who you serve in the real estate space, in this crazy real estate market, but every real estate market is crazy. It's either sometimes crazy high, crazy low. It's all crazy.
Exactly.
Right? That's
right.
But it's no different. Every business has highs and lows. But if you don't believe that you deserve and can achieve a perfect life, then you're not shooting for something. And I would say you are not serving the world. You were not meant to live your life underneath a basket. You really weren't. Every single person has a unique set of gifts, talents, and interests. I believe God-given, but people have different beliefs. And I think your job is to figure out, what do you like doing? What are you good at? What will the market pay you? Your gifts, talents, and interests. And explode that. And everything that's not in that basket, let somebody else do it. Because, Jerome, for everything that you don't like to do or you're not good at or is below your pay grade, there's somebody whose life would thrive if they could do that for you. Now, not easy, but I want the people to know, especially that person that you visioned and you told that story. I want people to know that the most successful people in the world are the ones who now go out and seek out the entrepreneurs and the business people who are a little farther down the pipeline and know that these are the most sharing, good people in the world. And particularly here in America, where we have boundless opportunity. Yeah, there's a lot of noise out there. Like, okay, America's a divided place. Okay. But my castle that I'm building is solid. The castle that you build and she builds can be solid. But
Thank you.
Start. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. So when you were speaking, it made me think you're talking about how we can't serve others if we're not built up. And the way, like, a lot of this stuff is the same. People are saying the same things with different words. So you said that, like, if I'm an entrepreneur and I'm not the best I can be, my employees suffer. So I just want to go back. Like, sometimes I hear the objection or I hear people say, oh, I gotta prioritize. This is for my kids. And there's this quote. It's a little corny, but it's absolutely true. And I just want to hear your perspective on this. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah. So the analogy I would make with that is, and I've crossed over 66 years, so I'm a little bit older than you are, but I do CrossFit. And I could do CrossFit 7 days a week. I could do the prescribed exercises, and it wouldn't be good for me. It wouldn't be good. I need my body, my muscles, my heart needs rest days so that when I am at work for that 1 hour class, I can go at my best. And the problem with most entrepreneurs is that we actually care. We care about our families. We care about our customers, clients, patients, whatever it is. And we're kind of good at what we do. And so we default to, when I was a young lawyer, Jerome, I would go, you know what? If I wasn't married, I would have a condo right next to the office because I just love to work all the time. That's an urge, right? But I think you have to learn to trust that you serve the world best when you're at work 100%. You're with family 100%. You're at spiritual worship, you're there 100%. Exercise, you're there 100%. And you can't really start to combine all of those things, right? I'm not, I'm either at church or I'm at the gym. I'm not at both at the same time. But when I'm there, I'm present. And so it's a discipline. So every business entrepreneur, here's one of the points Dan Kennedy and I make in the book is, if we don't have this time management stuff right, Jerome, then we steal. Stealing is wrong. Who do we steal from? We steal from our families. We're the ones that go in early and stay late and go on the weekends. Okay, well, who does that take from? That takes from the ones that we profess that we love. Right. If you ask any entrepreneur, do you value your family? Oh yeah. Who do you put number one? I put my family. If you're married, they'll say, I put my spouse and my children number one. Okay. I say, Jerome, if I followed you around for a week, by what I see, would I believe what you just told me about your family? The answer, sadly, for most business owners is no. Our actions are opposite from what we say. So you can't give out of an empty cup, but you have the same cup as everybody else does. And, an objection that Dan Kennedy and I get is, oh, well, you're Ben Glass, you're Dan Kennedy. And I just recorded a 1-hour podcast on the Renegade Lawyer podcast where Dan and I interviewed Dan for an hour on this. He goes, yeah, but I was Dan Kennedy when I started. He's got his backstory is, he'll tell you that he drank too much when he was young. He was often financially irresponsible. He had cars repoed, but he started to change his habits because he hated losing so much. When I started my private practice, I told you, it was good for a bit, and then it was really hard. And it was just me and an assistant, Jerome, 4.5 days a week, not because we were doing the 4-day work week, but we didn't have enough work for 5 full days. So everybody's been there. Your life is not any different. And I'll say one other thing, then I'll stop, because I tend to go on these rants. Is that, Jerome, we have zero control over who we are born to, into what circumstance we were born. We just don't, right? That is random. Some control over how long we have to live based upon our life habits and practices, right? But you don't get any do-overs. And I believe that every day is meant to be lived in your own happiness. And you do have control over how you respond to the stimulus of the world. Again, not easy, okay? But changeable. How you observe the world, how you respond to outside events, how you figure out what is out. If you watch the news, okay, the news is only bad politics, bad war, and bad weather. That's all they put on the news. Little of which actually changes our lives at our dinner table. And we should really think about it, right? We can let that stuff affect us. We can go on social media and read stuff of people we disagree with. We can let that affect us, or we can work on our own stuff. And that's the choice entrepreneurs make, is to work on our own stuff. Work with people like you who are helping real estate professionals live great lives by learning how to market, build a business, sell more efficiently to serve their clients.
Thank you for sharing that. What do you have to say to people that say, I have to put my family first. These are the things that matter. Ben, you just don't understand. I got to put them first. My kids come first. My wife come first. What do you have to say to them? Once you've given that input, they say, you just don't know what you're talking about, Jerome. You don't understand. I got to put them first.
Well, I would say Yes, we profess that we want to put them first. And so you start by, when you are with them, you be present. Turn your damn cell phone off. My cell phone, one of the things we talk about in the book, I don't have work email on it. It does not vibrate. It does not ring. It does not chirp. It does not do anything. Yes, I miss messages. Sometimes I show up at home, Jerome, and I didn't pick up the milk. Okay. That is a risk of living a distraction reduced life. So what I say to that person is, what does your family want? Your family wants you to be present when you're there. Your family knows you have to work, especially when you are early in your business world or your career world. Yes, work-life balance is like BS. Like it is life. It is life, not work-life balance. And there's going to be times when you are focused on work and you are putting in the hours, and we're getting ready to try a case. We're putting in the hours. Okay, my family understands that. But get past the trial, close the deal in your world. All right, boom, we're going to King's Dominion. Great. Don't need your cell phone at King's Dominion or whatever, right? So I believe that they want your focused attention when you're not working. And too many of us blend that. And no, you don't have to. Look, the reality is, I'm a lawyer. I'm a personal injury lawyer without work email on my cell phone and a phone that does not ring, ding, or chime, right? Nobody's died. I mean, I have people that help, but I started these habits long before I had people that help.
Thank you for sharing that, because I have two phones. I have a work phone, then I also have a personal phone, and they're both silent. I never take them off silent. And
Good.
people say, Jerome, what if there's an emergency? And I say, you know what? If there's an emergency, you know who to call. 911.
911. That's
Not
right.
me.
That's right.
Not me. Yeah. And I'm, like you said, like, I'm younger, and there's no emergencies regardless of my phone being on silent. People think emergencies and urgency, they're like, it's different. And what's urgent to you is not urgent to me. And I always tell people, I keep it on silent because it's a distraction. It's not that important. Jerome, you have kids. I have 4 children. You have kids and blah. No emergency have popped up yet. If there is an emergency, and I believe that's in the book as well. Yeah. There's truly an emergency. Who do you call? Not me.
Yeah. I mean, look, because I'm older, I grew up in the time when phones were all tied to the wall, right? So we didn't even have these things in our cars and like following us around all the time. And Dan Kennedy, my co-author, he doesn't use one at all. You can only communicate with him by fax and by scheduled phone call. And here's the thing. So in your business, agent's going to say, well, I need to be there when the client's calling, and I hear the same thing from lawyers. Like, I need to, like when the client's call. So dude, like, you're working on a really important brief, or in your case, you're working on a really important negotiation for a real estate deal. And you're going to let somebody else who has a brain fart, like, oh, I need to talk to Jerome, like, interrupt that deep work that you're doing? No, that does a dishonor to the client you're serving right now. And exactly. What we have to do is I teach my clients, this is how I work, and this is why it's a benefit to you. Because, Jerome, when I'm working on your case for you, I'm not taking unplanned inbound phone calls. I'm not checking emails, and I'm not getting texts, right? And that's the way, hopefully, like, that's what you want out of your lawyer. That's what I would want out of my real estate agent. Like, I'd be really pissed if I was trying to close a deal in this really competitive real estate market. Northern Virginia, it's absolutely crazy. I'm sure it is in most places. It's crazy. And if the guy I hired to help me is taking calls from other people when we're in the middle of trying to beat out 5 other bidders for a house, I'm pissed.
Absolutely. So I'll probably have the evidence somewhere around on my YouTube channel, my podcast or whatever. But we're here today because of this book that has brought us together. You've published the 4th edition, correct?
Yes, sir.
Dan Kennedy, No BS Time Management. And I remember I first read this. I've read plenty of Dan Kennedy stuff, and I've read plenty of books. And for some reason, the book that rises to the top for me as an entrepreneur and a business owner has always been this book here. There's not a book that has come close to this particular book. And I love this book because I didn't necessarily learn anything new, Ben. but it validated everything that I needed to know about success and having a no BS attitude and how to get stuff done. I would love for you to talk a little bit about the book. We've been referring to it, referencing
Sure.
it. I know you have a copy there. I would love for you to show our audience, hold it up like I've held mine up. I have, I think, the 3rd edition. We want to see yours. Yeah,
Yes.
just talk about the book, how it's gotten here, where we can get it, market, promote. Talk about that book.
Yeah, thanks so much. So this is the 4th edition. So Dan Kennedy has a series of no BS books published by Entrepreneur Press. This is the top seller. The time management book is the top selling book in the series. The very first edition changed my life. I was a young lawyer, still running my relatively small practice. I'm on vacation, Jerome. I got edition 1 with me. I'm reading it and I'm thinking, oh my, so it did teach me, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, no unplanned inbound phone calls. That's interesting. I went to a payphone. I put my quarter in. I called the office. Again, dating myself. And I said, from now on, phone calls by appointment only. I was told by my team, my small team at the time, that'll never work. People will be pissed off, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I'm sure they thought that this would only last for 2 weeks and I would forget about it. I've been doing it now for over 25 years. Not lost anything from it. In fact, for the reasons we already talked about, clients like it because it actually serves them better. So the book is filled with strategies, but as you said, like there's probably 100 or more, hundreds of time management books. This is time management for entrepreneurs. People like you and I and the folks who are listening to this podcast have to leave the cave, go out, hunt something, kill it, and bring it back to the cave every week. That's what entrepreneurs do. And so entrepreneurs cannot be engaged in slow productivity, right? We need to make things happen. And so overlaying, we can talk about a couple of strategies here. We've already talked about one, the phone call, but overlying the strategies is the mindset that I addressed here earlier, which is you are a special person. You, the entrepreneur, the biz owner, are a special person. And whether you're running a one-man real estate brand or a big organization or a big law firm or whatever, like you're the racehorse. You have to be good, and people depend upon you to make money move and to make the world go round. So you have to believe that it is important and allowable to have the world revolve around you, just the way it is. So one of the things we talk about in the book is really getting a good understanding the value of your time, because so many entrepreneurs, good, hardworking people, they actually undervalue their time, right? They undervalue their worth to the world. Dan talks about a formula where you say, well, how much money, how much revenue do I need to generate? And most people then default, Jerome, they go, let's just say it's $1 million. Just say they default to, well, I got 40 hours in a work week. So they divide by 40 and 50 weeks in the year and get to a number. Well, that's the wrong formula because nobody's got 40 productive hours, right? Most business people, most entrepreneurs are lucky if they get like 1.6 productive hours in a day. So having a realistic look at your productive hours, the hours that produce money, how many productive hours do you need to get to your revenue goal is important. Important for a number of reasons, but I'll give you the big one. You have to shed from your life, shed from you being the one that is the doer, Jerome, of things that are not worth your time, of things where you are basically turning yourself into a $20 an hour clerk if the real value of your time is $1,500 an hour, but you're running around making copies, right? And I get it when you're just starting that this can be hard. But I will tell you that the quicker you understand this, and you understand that there are people in this world, and it is a worldwide economy for this, Jerome, people in this world who would love to work for people like us. They may be local, and you may need them to be local for certain parts of your business. But so many of us have tapped into the international market where, for example, the law firm, we've got about 22 people under roof. 5 are based out of the Philippines. We have 2 of them are executive assistants, EAs, based out of the Philippines, where our Philippine-based team makes more money working for us than they would on their local economy. So there's a win. And they get to work with people that we think were pretty interesting and fun to work with. So they get to work with good teams. So that's a win. We're both learning. We learn to be better delegators. They learn skills. We treat them as part of the team. And they're very hard workers. And they show up and they get stuff done. So my view of life, Jerome, is you're looking for win-win relationships in life. I love to ask the question, Jerome, if you and I were going to do business together in some way, shape, or form, I would ask you first, what can I do for you in this podcast? Like, how do we serve your listeners best? Let me try to deliver that so that you have an interesting podcast episode. I don't think enough people have that attitude about the world. It's like, what can I get out of this deal? How much, can I win the deal? No. How about if both sides feel like they got to win in the deal, particularly real estate transaction, right? If both sides come out of the deal thinking they got the best, right? That's perfect. That's capitalism, right? So that's a little bit about the book. There's there's a number of other strategies. We talk about time vampires, which is a term that Dan coined in the first edition. I'm sure you remember reading about it. Time vampires are all those people and things in your life that are just there. They want to sneak up on you, Jerome. They want to stick their hand in your back pocket and pull out your wallet, except they're not stealing your credit card or your dollars. They're stealing your time. And we don't let people steal our wallets too easily, do we?
Right.
But we're way too easy to let people steal our time. Oh, Jerome, you just got a minute? Oh, LinkedIn. All of LinkedIn is, hey, Jerome, I'd just like to, can we get a 5-minute phone call with you so I can pitch you my stuff and tell you all the cool stuff I could sell you? Like, so many stupid people on LinkedIn, right? Just pitching that way. And so many entrepreneurs that go, yeah, sure, it's only 5 minutes. It's never only 5 minutes. There's a ton of science on how much time it actually takes. If I'm working on your brief and I'm interrupted for 5 minutes, either because somebody walked in my door or my phone rings, right? Maybe we have a 5-minute conversation. It's like 12 minutes for me to get back into the groove of doing the work I was doing. So now I've lost 17 minutes of a 60-minute hour. And so the chapter on time vampires is all about how do we block them? Then the objection is, but Jerome, my team needs me. My team has questions. They don't know the answers to all the questions. Perfect. Of course they need you. You're the leader. So what are we going to do? We're going to block time where they can come bundle their questions together. So they're not coming in brain fart by brain fart, right? They're thinking, oh, here's a question for Ben. Here's a question for Ben. Here's a question for Ben. And then, Jerome, we tell them, when you come to me with a question, come to me with 3 possible solutions that you think are great and make your recommendation for one of the solutions. And the more then we can have, the conversation now becomes not just some blanket question where they haven't given any thought to. They've thought about the answer and they're usually going to be right on the solution. So now, Jerome, I'm telling you, Jerome, man, that was awesome. That's a great solution. Go do it. The next time that question comes up, Jerome, you're doing it on your own. How does that make you feel? You feel better. You feel more empowered. You're more confident. You have another skill you've added to your toolbox there. How's it feel for me? Great. I don't have a line of people lining up outside the door. And so that's a way that we build our team up. Like, we hired these people for a reason. They want to grow. They want to work in a place where they'll thrive, and they want to be of service to our clients. They want to get better at it. That's a way to do it.
I love that, because you gave me something to implement immediately.
Yeah.
If you have a question, you have a problem, make sure you come with 3 solutions as well. And then let's talk about it. And I love that, because it's empowering. And also what I'm realizing is they'll probably resolve a lot of these problems themselves by thinking of solutions.
If you were on vacation, dude, they'd figure out the answer. And you know what? It might not be the same answer or the exact same way that Jerome would do it. All right. Kennedy teaches good enough is good enough, right? For most things in law, in real estate transactions, most of the mistakes that somebody can make is not going to be like a fatal error, right? It just isn't. Okay. Because you've hired some good people. but they will do things differently than you do. And most of the time for me, like they're doing it better than I would do it, right? So that's good. And they'll from time to time they'll make mistakes, and mistakes is how we learn stuff. Like you and I got to where we are because we made a bunch of mistakes and we learned from them.
100%. So something that you mentioned earlier, you're like, Jerome, if I were reaching out to you, we were talking, you would say, how could I best serve your audience? And that's interesting because I have a script or a list of questions that I typically go through as a backup. And I have 2 questions on there that are along the same premise of what you're saying. And I'm going to ask you those questions. The first one, and I'll give you examples too. I ask, how can someone add immediate value to your business? And I'm asking you that directly, Ben. And a good example for me, if I'm on a podcast, somebody asks me that question, I would say, oh, just go purchase a copy of my book. Or, send me somebody that's interested in a course that I have. Something like that. That's like immediate short-term value. It could be, oh, go like my last YouTube video. So, Ben, how can someone add immediate value to you personally or your business?
I really appreciate the question. So I've got 2 businesses. So one, if you are a lawyer listening to this, or you know somebody, like maybe your family lawyer is somebody who's serving you, but you know, like they're not 100% happy with the practice of law, like send them to come look at our stuff at Great Legal Marketing, because we're building a community and systems and processes so that lawyers' lives can be happier. And we're really good at it. In the legal space, I mean, we're in Virginia. We're a personal injury and a disability law firm in Virginia. But here, and here's the thing, our Rolodex is huge. So if somebody just has a legal question or they want to get hooked up with a divorce lawyer or a real estate lawyer, whatever, like our Rolodex is huge. So we're the ones to call. We've been I've been here 40 years in Northern Virginia practicing. And so that's a way that you can help my business, but because I'm helping you, like I'm giving you information back. And we'd love to, and of course, we want people to go to Amazon, keep breaking Amazon to get the book. Dan Kennedy and I would really love it if after you read the book, like you go and leave a review for the book as well. Amazon likes that. And just spread the word. Like if you're listening to this and you're an entrepreneur, like you are doing hard work. There's no way to sugarcoat this. But what I want you to do is I want you to spread the word that there are mastermind groups, there's coaching groups, there's people like Jerome who can help you figure out, we call, how do I best spend my next dollar or my next hour to make my life better? And that's what I'm really good at, is talking to a business owner, and it's not just lawyers, but I coach, a fair number of small biz owners in Northern Virginia. Okay, where do you want to get to? Okay. Tell me about your resources? All right. Here's what I would do next, or here's what I would recommend you do next with your dollar or your hour. That's what a good coach will do for you. And a lot of times, if the coach is a vendor of something, the solution is always like, buy my thing, like buy my website, buy my lead generation thing. So they have an inherent, bias towards that. We don't sell anything but pure advice and coaching, and we help lawyers and other business owners figure out, okay, what do I do next? I'm struggling. What do I do next?
Thank you for sharing that. You gave me, so I asked that question twofold. So for the audience, because sometimes you get people which they become time vampires. Oh, Jerome, can I get 5 minutes? Can I get this? Can I get that? Rather than coming from a place of serving. You know what? Jerome said he would appreciate if someone purchased his book. So I'm going to do that for him. And then I'm going to request some of his time. And then I'm going to request some kind of value from him. So I appreciate.
Yeah. And here's what I want. If you request something, call me back or send me emails. Show me that you did it. Mm-hmm. Like some people, amazingly, they'll come to me and they'll want that 5 minutes. They don't even have a notebook. Mm-hmm. They're not like, you're just wasting my time. Show me that you're doing something with the idea. Did it work or didn't it work? Is there a tweak that you added to it to make the world better? This is how entrepreneurs make the world better. I'm very passionate about the space of the small biz owner. I truly think that we are the engine of the economic world in America, where, again, you have pretty much boundless opportunity, pretty much I used to say limited regulation, but even in your space, like you have all these new rules now. I'm not sure really help the consumer from what I understand. Um, but at the end of the day, each biz owner, they're making their own castle and they're making themselves immune to criticism, to the government, to outside economic forces, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the real estate market is doing. There's always somebody who's rocking it. I think you'll agree with me. Like
Absolutely, 100%. And I
interest
kind of
rate, yeah.
and I kind of wanted to, so I'm going to hold on to that
Yeah.
and ask my next question, because I heard you talking. It's a certain mentality, right? You were mentioning that every market's crazy. Some people, oh, it's the market, oh, it's this business, is that. None of that stuff matters. What really matters is us. So I want to hear your opinion on that. But first, I have to ask you, my next question is very similar to the one that I just asked you. And just so you know, I'm a doer, I'm an implementer, I'm going to get it done. I want to add value. I appreciate you being here. So I'm going to purchase a copy of the next No BS, and you're going to get a review. I'm going to talk about our experience here, what we've done together, and I'm going to get that done for you. Actions speak louder than words. I love how you said that. Like, if you get the advice or you ask, show me. I'm going to show you that review that you asked for, and I'm going to go back and find out other ways that I can serve you and add value. So my next question, very similar to the one I asked you, but it changed the timeline. So how can someone add long-term value to Ben personally or Ben's business? And some examples might be send me a client, bring me a case, anything like that. I'm sure you can think of something that can bring long-term value to you.
So in this digital world where Google, the big monster Google, is trying to figure out what's a trustworthy website, who's a trustworthy advisor. Again, doesn't matter your business. Having as many people as possible, Jerome, go, hey, I listened to Ben Glass and Jerome Lewis on this podcast, and talk about the podcast on LinkedIn or Facebook and link back to us, or maybe link to Ben Glass Law or Great Legal Marketing or your business. I think this kind of digital, it's almost like online reviews, but it's a little bit different, like digital authority making, by saying, these guys sound smart and you might want to give this podcast a listen to, right? That is a small way that a lot of people can in total make a big difference to people who are running businesses where a lot of leads are generated online. We have over 300 5-star online reviews at Ben Glass Law. So, if something I've said on this podcast has helped you with your life, like, you can go there, find me and say, hey, I listened to Ben on Jerome's awesome podcast, and he said this, and that's very helpful, and I just want to thank him. Like, these are powerful ways that people can help small biz. I compete against big giant firms that spend bazillions of dollars on TV, radio, and internet, right? And we're just a little mom and pop shop here. I mean, we're fairly substantial, but still a little mom and pop shop. So having people say hello and thank you on online reviews or creating links from their websites, that's powerful stuff.
Thank you for sharing that. Speaking of, you mentioned one of the things, like we were talking about Dan Kennedy. That's one of our affinities together. And I absolutely love Dan Kennedy. I met him. I got into his world 2020, like during COVID. And then I met Darcy. And I was helping all of these people and I was doing all of this stuff. And one of the things you're talking about, social proof testimonials, what other people are saying. One of the most powerful concepts they helped me understand was the importance of what other people are saying, not what you are saying, not how great you are. And I also learned the importance of like having a book. And I took that concept, like social proof. What are other people saying? So Jerome doesn't have to beat his chest and say, I'm so awesome. What are other people saying? So I started to actively seek out what people were saying, testimonies, etc. And my favorite product, I've done a lot of books, created courses, etc. My favorite product thus far, by far, is this here. I created a book of testimonials that other people are saying. This is over 400 pages of testimonials and things that people are saying. And I got that concept from Dan Kennedy. People are blown away when I show them that. And that's one of those concepts that I picked up. Similar to you, like our company name is Digital Real Estate Strategy. And I'm always like, we got 400 testimonials or 300, something. It's 300. And I just absolutely love that concept. And with you being from Dan Kennedy's world, I would love to hear you talk about that concept of social proof, what others people are saying, and how that has influenced and impacted your business.
Well, it's huge for the reason that you mentioned. If I say to you, if I come up to you and we're at a social networking event, and I get, Jerome, I'm Ben, and I'm a really good personal injury lawyer. Glad to meet you. You're like, which way can I run and how fast can I run away, right? If you're having a discussion, maybe you've had an accident, and somebody else comes up to you and says, Jerome, I sound like you had an accident. This Ben Glass guy is somebody that I trust who you might just want to go talk to because he seems like a really smart guy. So third party, not me, of those two conversations, which one are you like listening into and which one are you turning and running as fast as you can away from? And that's critical. And so for businesses who are listening to this, developing, I think, in your business, a culture of asking for reviews, developing systems for asking for reviews. Now, there's a lot of companies that will sell you like sort of automated review asking thing. We've always wanted to do it 100% authentic. So Jerome, let's say you call me up and I can't help you with your case. Maybe it's in Maryland or someplace, and I'm going to maybe give you a referral, but I helped you.
Right.
And so we're going to say, Jerome, love you went and left a review. And here's what we just want people to know that we will try to help them. And then maybe Susie helped you hook up a phone call with me. And I would say, Jerome, Susie's a superstar. Would you mind mentioning Susie's name, like my team member's name? That's huge because, again, it frees up the entrepreneur because people will now call Susie. It makes Susie feel better when she sees her name in our online reviews. And inside the law firm, like we know when a review goes live, like we're passing it around. Oh, terrific. Mary, look, Mary got another review. The disability team got another review. Like we cheer that. So having that culture is really critical. You don't be afraid of negative reviews. Either you screwed something up or someone's lying about you, but you respond to it appropriately, respond to everything. But you're right. It's the whole thing of, we actually own the URL, Jerome, justreadthereviews.com. And so in some of our marketing for Ben Glass Law, it doesn't say benglasslaw.com. It says justreadthereviews.com. And it takes them right to our Google review page. Again, third-party endorsement, it's third-party storytelling is really what it is. And it doesn't always have to be, oh, Ben got me the most money. We do this, but what makes our clients happy is like we took the drama and the pressure of a case out of their hands. We explained every step of the way. We deliver the very best customer service of any law firm. That's our space, best customer service. Anybody in your space could also make that their number one too. Best customer service, proactive customer service. Anyway, so there's just a couple of ways. Like your book is awesome. That is an awesome idea, my friend. I guess if you learned that from Darcy, she is a master of marketing, has been my friend for a number of years, and we see each other once or twice a year in mastermind groups that we're both in.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I know we're coming up on the end and we're going to be efficient with our time. We're going to practice what we preach. So this is going to be my first time asking this question, but we had, I think, a productive episode today. And normally what I ask my guests is like, what are 3 books that you recommend and why? But I would like to tweak it a little bit. And I want to hear you recommend 3 books relevant to our episode and the things that we talked about today. So in addition to time management, that no BS time management for entrepreneurs guide, I want to hear you talk about 3 or 2 other books to complement what people can go out and get done.
A book that changed my life, and this may be more than many people want to bite off to chew, was Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. Okay. And properly understood, Atlas Shrugged is about you control your own destiny. It's not about being mean to people. It's about using your gifts, talents, and interests. At least that's what I got from it. So that was a great book. I think that Cal Newport's book, Deep Work, is a tremendous book. That book is about carving out time in your life to think deeply, either about your own life, about projects, whatever it is. In our way too distracted world, Jerome, everyone's got the attention span of a goldfish. I mean, they really just do. And those who will carve out time to think deeply, deep work, right, about whatever it is that's in front of them, they'll just win. They just will. And then I'm just trying to think of. I think that Dan Kennedy's No BS Grassroots Marketing, the ultimate no holds barred, take no prisoners guide to growing sales and profits. For what? For local small businesses. This is the other book that your readers should go and listen to, because it is for us, all of us who aren't spending mega millions on digital or other broadcast advertising. What can we do in the community? How can we become famous? How can we add value to the community? How can we get others, as you already alluded to talk positively about us? That's in this No BS Grassroots Marketing book. It is one of my favorite books to give to business owners like us, and to like the people that you and I coach.
Okay, thank you so much, Ben. Could you tell us one more time, give us a recap or a brief on No BS Time Management, and where we can buy it, where we can get it?
So go to Amazon, No BS Time Management for Entrepreneurs. Make sure you get the 4th edition. It's the one that has my name and Dan Kennedy's name at the bottom. And I would say this, I would love to hear after you read it, like, reach out to me. I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. I'm easy to find on the internet. Like, write to me. Tell me your takeaway from the book, and then tell a friend your takeaway from the book so that we can sell more. I mean, look, this is a very small part of my business life, but this book, the 1st edition, did change my life. I'm a busy guy, and that's why Dan invited me in to be the co-author. So go buy it. Buy 2. Share it. Share one with somebody.
Absolutely. And Ben, how can we learn more about you online or your business?
Yes. So benglasslaw.com. Ben Glass Law is the law firm. Great Legal Marketing is the coaching organization. And I'm very active on LinkedIn.
Excellent. Thank you. This has been so great. I like to close us out with one word, no explanation. Close us out. One word, no explanation. What would that be?
Inspire.
Inspire. All right. Ben, thank you so much for your time. I'm going to close this down. This time went so fast.
It did.